We're out here on the Menominee River today up in Marinette doing some electrofishing for some walleyes as a part of a couple of programs. One of them is we're implementing a really large reward tag study this year to try to get a better understanding of angler harvest of walleyes in the Green Bay system to help us better manage that fishery. And we're also have a couple of hatcheries here that are spawning some walleyes, collecting eggs from those to raise in our hatcheries to stock out later this year as large fingerlings. So my name's Jason Bregeman and I'm the fisheries biologist with the Wisconsin DNR based out of the Green Bay office, and I'm responsible for managing the walleye fishery on Green Bay, including the tributaries. Up front is Mel. She's one of the technicians in the Green Bay office, and driving the boat today is Adam Nickel. He's the Peshtigo work unit supervisor. So we're out here electrofishing today. Give you a brief intro of how it works. We've got a generator in the back of the boat that produces all of the electricity. That goes through a wire up into the silver box that's right in front of the driver. And the driver controls all the electricity, the volts, the amps, everything along those lines. And then it goes through two different wires, and it goes out the front of the boat on these orange booms and around the metal ring, and then goes into the water in the droppers that are out on the front of the boat out there. And so the electricity isn't meant to hurt the fish in any way. It just stuns them so that they can't swim away, and they do get attracted a little bit up into the field so that dippers that are standing up on the front of the boat can use these long-handled dip nets to scoop all the walleyes up and put them in the live well. So we're measuring the length on each of the fish, determining the sex, and if it's a female, we're determining if it's green or hard. It hasn't spawned yet. Running will be actively releasing eggs, and spent will have already released all of their eggs. And then we're giving each of these fish a floy tag next to the dorsal fin that has a unique number on it. We're putting out into our fish this year the yellow ones and then these red ones. We're putting out 200 red reward tags. It says on the tag right there, reward $100, and it has a date that it's valid until. The reward tags that we're putting out this spring are valid until March 31st, 2025. And we're partnered with Walleyes for Tomorrow on this project. They're the ones that are paying out the $100 reward for anglers who report catching a reward tagged fish with proper verification. And so proper verification, if you release the fish, is a close-up picture of the tag, including the 3-digit tag number, and then a picture of the angler holding the fish. And if it's a harvested fish, they can either mail the tag into the Green Bay DNR office or the email address that we have on the tag. We've got a couple of hatcheries spawning fish today. They're collecting eggs from the Lake Michigan genetic strain of walleyes. The DNR does all of our stocking based on genetics management units, and we only stock fish that are the native genetic strain to a watershed. So a watershed encompasses all the waters that drain to a particular area. So all the waters that drain to Lake Michigan or Green Bay are in the Green Bay watershed. And all the walleyes that the DNR stocks in waters within that watershed are the Lake Michigan genetic strain. The reason we use the Menominee River as our parent source is because in the 60s and 70s, walleyes were nearly extirpated from Green Bay. The only place that had a remaining naturally reproducing walleye population was the Menominee River up here, and we stocked millions of fry and fingerlings into Green Bay in some of the lower tributaries in the 70s and 80s as part of our restoration program, but we didn't stock any walleyes up here. So this is likely the most natural genetic source, or has the most Lake Michigan genetic strain in it, because we use stocking to restore the fishery in a lot of those southern tributaries like the Fox River and such.
We have these management crews go out and collect males and females, and when they bring them back, we'll check to see if they're ripe. If they're ripe, we'll put the females in this holding tank, and then the males will go into that farther holding tank. We will take an ovarian fluid sample for fish health testing, and then we will put 5 females' eggs into the same bowl, and then top it off with another 5 males. And once we're done with that, we'll add our well water from the hatchery, which will then fertilize the eggs. And we'll stir it with a turkey feather or use our hand to mix that milt and eggs in the water, so the milt has a good chance to fertilize all the eggs. After a minute, we'll decant that water and then use an anti-clumping agent like tannic acid or clay. Today we're using tannic acid, and we'll stir that for another 3 minutes, decant that off, add another tannic solution for another 3 minutes, and that should remove the adhesiveness from the eggs. Rinse again with our well water, and then we'll put them away in these take-along containers, which we will fill with our well water, and we'll stick them in a cooler to control the temperature, and they'll water harden for 1.5 to 2 hours. And we'll transport them back to the hatchery, where we'll disinfect them again when we get back at the facility, and then we will put them in our McDonald jars where they'll incubate for the next 14 to 16 days, and then they'll hatch.